Are there elemental symbols? Have you ever wondered if there are symbols that representing the forces of nature? Let's take a closer look at elemental symbols and their fascinating connections to ancient myths and spiritual beliefs. Yes, elemental symbols do exist, and they are deeply rooted in various traditions. These symbols representing the classical elements, earth, water, air, and fire. Each symbol is linked to supernatural beings known as elementals, who embody and govern these forces. The elemental symbols are visual representations of these for classical elements. Earth is typically shown as a downward-pointing triangle with a horizontal line through it. Water is represented by a plain downward-pointing triangle. Air is depicted as an upward-pointing triangle with a horizontal line, while fire is symbolized by an upward-pointing plane triangle. These symbols are used in many spiritual and magical practices to invoke or representing the elemental forces. Elementals are mythic beings associated with these elements. The Renaissance alchemist Paracelsus categorized them into four types. Gnomes are linked to earth, undines to water, sylphs to air, and salamanders to fire. These beings are believed to inhabit and control their respective realms, acting as guardians of nature. For example, gnomes are often thought to dwell underground, while salamanders embody the transformative power of fire. From a supernatural perspective, elemental symbols serve as gateways to connect with elemental spirits. These spirits are thought to have mystical powers that influence the natural world. They can be called upon in magical practices for healing, protection, or environmental cleansing. In traditions like medieval witchcraft, invoking these symbols helps awaken the elemental forces and establish communication with the spirits. Elemental symbols and spirits appear in many global mythologies. Earth elementals are often linked to creatures like dwarves and goblins, who guard treasures underground. Air elementals manifest as winds or clouds, sometimes personified as sylphs. Fire elementals, such as salamanders, are connected to flames and transformation. Water elementals include undines and nymphs, who inhabit lakes and rivers. These beings often reflected the unpredictable nature of the elements they representing. In practical applications, elemental symbols are frequently used in rituals, spells, and meditations. They help invoke the protective qualities of the elements and balance energies within oneself or the environment. Connecting with ancestral spirits and spiritual guides associated with nature is another important aspect. By calling upon elemental forces, practitioners can enhance their magical workings for transformation, healing, or manifestation. So, to answer the question, yes, elemental symbols do exist. They representing the classical elements and are closely tied to the concept of elemental spirits. These symbols are not just icons. They serve as practical tools in spiritual practices and help us understand our relationship with the natural world.